Back Row Ministry, the Moral Premier, Mr. Motley, coming back at you live and direct. So, once again, we see the two, what I would like to call them, the Corsican brothers. That's what I'm going to call these guys moving forward. The Corsican brothers. Up to it again. And we remember in Obama's first run for president, Trump was the one to come out and claim that he was not an American-born citizen, which Trump knew that that was a lie. We all know that Barry is born in Hawaii, and it's not that Barry's not an American-born citizen. It's who's Barry's father is the real question, and the scandal that could be revealed behind who Barry's father really is, because there's a lot that goes into that story. It's real deep. One day I might break that story down for you guys again. I did a piece on it a while ago, but I need to do that piece again about the scandal related to Barry, and I don't even call him Barack, Barry's father, and the funny business that was going on in Hawaii with Barry's grandfather, who was a very powerful person, possibly CIA, who knows. But a lot of shadiness with Barry's mother, Barry's grandfather, and other individuals in Hawaii. So Trump came out to deflect from that story and created the birther story, and you're not even from Hawaii, and his father's from Kenya, and all this luka duka duka that they had been using for years to kind of cover up Barry's possible lineage. But here, the Corsican brothers are at it again with this Russia collusion thing from 2016. That let's read the story so you get an idea. Trump accuses Obama of treason and escalating attacks over 2016 Russia probe. So basically, Trump is now trying to say that Obama was behind the Russia probe. Excuse me. But what is this really about? What is this really about? Because we got a lot of people involved in this, from Tulsi Gabbard on, presenting this evidence that Barack was about the Russia probe. And Barack just came back on the scene a couple of weeks ago talking about, what black males need and all this stuff, like, he raised sons. But this story is simply about one thing. This is about them trying to distract you from the Epstein case. Can't you tell? And they're doing a really bad job at it because it's blatant. They're not even being mindful. So, of course, Barack Obama has signed on to this. And when we say birds of a feather flock together, you see them cheesing together. So if I got beef with you about a Russia probe, and I think that you were behind it, and I think that you were trying to say that the Russian was trying to help me get elected, why would I be there cheesing with you in a picture? Why would I do that? I'm from the streets. So, I come from an environment where if you do something shady to me, we ain't talking, we ain't cheesing, we ain't got nothing to say. What we got to talk about? What do we have to giggle about? But you see these two guys giggling, and they're always finding ways to have conversations. Yet they're supposed to be mortal enemies, yet they can sit here and talk about things and giggle, which we saw them doing at the funeral. So it's a load of malarkey, and people just need to see. We say a picture speaks 1,000 words. So I want y'all really to hear those things that you think are cliches, but it's really the elite communicating, hey, just look at the picture. The picture is communicating what's going on. So definitely be mindful of what you see, because suddenly they go from this picture and giggling and everybody saw it in live feed to, oh man, you tried to get me for the Russia probe. And no, it's a bunch of BS. And Barack Obama is complacent in it because he has to be, because the elites are trying to duck and dodge this Epstein thing. All of them are trying to duck and dodge it. So of course Barack is going to play his part by sacrificing himself for this Russia probe story to get Trump's supporters, those that are, I like to call special people. I don't like to call them racist. I call them special people because they have a lot of psychological issues because they're easily swayed psychologically to believe things based on hatred and prejudice. So this is an easy way of getting them off the Epstein train and on. Oh, you see, and that black guy over there, he was trying to get Trump. Trump represents America. He's trying to distract them to get them away from Epstein. And this is the elite in total. Once again, the media, entertainment, whoever else does not want this Epstein stuff to come out, they're going to need a cover story. They're going to need a way to get the people's mind off of that. And here they come. Hey, Barack, we need you to do A, B, and C. We're going to say this. We need a bigger story. And that's what they do. They create a bigger story. Remember, for those that might have been following me, when Vince McMahon got those charges on him and TKO had brought and purchased WWE, they needed a bigger story, so they brought in The Rock, and The Rock created the whole Cody Rhodes, I want to fight you thing, messed up WrestleMania. But he changed the narrative and got people's mind off of Vince McMahon. Same here. They're trying to do what they can to get your mind off of the Epstein case. And we're not going to let them do it. Because they, once again, want you to go back in the mode that there's no pedophiles in America, that this has not been going on for a long period of time, and that they're all not complacent in it, which they are. And they all work in tandem. And people have to see that Barack ain't your friend. He never was. He's one of them. He's an elitist. He does what they tell him to do. And it's no mystery that they will him out when the heat was on Trump, that, hey, we got to get the heat off Trump. We got to get the heat off this Epstein case. We don't need this information coming out. Hey, Barack, we need a solid. What can you do for us? And here's Barack taking the bait. Now they're giggling 1 minute, and now this Russia probe stuff comes. So it's a bunch of malarkey. And we see that Ghislaine Maxwell. And we're going to pull up the name Ghislaine. But we see now Ghislaine has agreed to testify and meet with the Justice Department. Now, what she's going to talk about, we don't know. Remember, the Justice Department at this time is controlled by the Trump administration. So we don't know what she's going to say. Are they going to give her a slap on the wrist and let her out of prison? Possibly so. Is she going to say that it's a list? Is she not going to say it's a list? Who knows? But, we don't know what they promised her. If I'm her, I'm watching, because it's been too many deaths over the last couple of weeks. She might be on the list. So we don't know what she's going to talk about, if she talks about anything, or is she complacent and she's just going to do what she got to do to survive, which is know there's no list and keep it moving. So we don't know. So Ghislaine is a French name. It's French origin, derived from the old Germanic name. Is Gizahild, which is composed of elements gizil, meaning pledge, or hostage, which she is now, she's locked up, and hid, meaning battle. Therefore, the name Ghislaine can be interpreted to mean a pledge of battle, or hostage of war, which she is now. She's a hostage at this time, or pledge of battle. So we don't know how this is going to go based on the significance and the power behind Ghislaine's name. Hostage of war or pledge of battle. Which one is she? Is she a hostage at this time, being held because she was complacent in crimes and she's not saying anything? Or do they want her to say something? Who knows? Or do they just want to test her loyalty? Because if she keeps her mouth shut, it's all to the good for her. But we don't know. So Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be called to speak in front of the Justice Department, but we don't know what she's going to be saying. We don't know if she's still complacent. We don't know where it's going to go. She can go up there and say, listen, cherry out. But, just think about during the time when this is coming, this story is, they're trying to overshadow this story with the Barack and Trump thing to get your mind off of this. That's all they're trying to do. It's called a smoke screen. So all this, that's where that word, smoke screen. Barack and Trump are throwing a smoke screen. That Barack story is nothing. Is nothing. And it allows, no, it allows um, news outlets like CNN to get back on board, and also helping the deflection and smokescreen, because they get on board with this Barack Obama treason stuff. Because remember, it's treason accusations. So CNN is going to grab this also, because their job, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, some of them don't even want it. Newsmax, those they're not even trying to deal with the Epstein case. They are right complacent from the jump that y'all don't need to know anything about that. There's no Epstein conspiracy. But then the funny thing about the people who say there's not conspiracy, they go back and give you their own created conspiracy, because this is all conspiracy. So they give you a conspiracy, but they're always quick to say, well, there's no conspiracies out there. Yet you're giving us a conspiracy against this person. But they're doing that to create smoke screens. So CNN, ABC, NBC, they're going to be complacent to this because they don't want this information about Epstein getting out. They're going to do everything in their power to distract you, to get your mind off of Epstein, so you don't keep pushing to get those Epstein's files released and get to fact about, okay, what was really going on? Is there really a list? We know that there were people on the island because Biden released a list of entertainers, but they didn't release a list of anybody else. So they just want you not to keep talking about this. Maxwell, she could either A, talk about something, or B, not. Who knows? It depends on who's asking her the questions. And because they're going to pick those people to ask the questions. All these people are going to be complacent to the crimes of Epstein and been told don't ask no questions. So here are all our players. We got Tulsi Gabbard. And I lost what I was doing. But Tulsi Gabbard is the person supposed to be getting out of all this information. And she's becoming a real pawn in the game. So Tulsi Gabbard, 82, 44 to kill goal. Tulsi better watch out. She better watch out. Tulsi, 18 and 36. We got Trump, who's 25, 29. Trump, the number of death. So at any time, we know when you got the number of death planning on you, 29th to 10th prime, 47 to 14th prime, and 88. Trump is always 88, which we know. You see the death of Hulk Hogan, 811, which is 88. 8 times 11, 88. So that energy had to vibrate with Trump. So because Trump and Hogan had a real long relationship. They knew each other for years. So see how Obama's 14, and that vibrates with the energy of Trump. 47, well, as we say, is the 15th prime number. I apologize for that. I'm off of that. I apologize. The 15th prime number, I'm wrong. But definitely Trump and Obama have a storied relationship in history. 31, the 11th prime, so a master number set for Obama's name. Here's the Barack, 45. Trump was 45. And remember, they both were complacent. Remember, Barack was the one who made the joke about what if Trump becomes president, and then Trump becomes president. For those that remember that White House Correspondents' meeting dinner where that joke was made by Barack. So Barack 18, Barack 45, Trump is 45 and 47 as far as the president. Remember Trump, look at, you see Trump 47, and he just mysteriously becomes the 47th president according to Gematria. We're gonna put Ghislaine in here. So Ghislaine is 48 and 51. 48 and 51. Also 84 is Ghislaine. And we talked about what her name meant. So not a lot of energy I don't see with Ghislaine. And make sure we spelled Ghislaine right. I think we did. Yeah, Ghislaine. We spelled it. Also put Ghislaine Maxwell, which is 7587. Got some 87 energy. Epstein, who this is all about. So Epstein 34, 38, the number of death. Epstein 88. See how Epstein is 88, Trump is 88, so their energies match. So that is a reason for their relationship. Barack 18, Tulsi 18. Remember, Tulsi Gabbard is going hard after Barack Obama right now. He's complacent. I got all this paperwork, and she's just a pawn. She's just a puppet who, hey, they told we need you to get the heat off the president. Do what you got to do. See, Barack also 36, Tulsi 36. So definitely a lot of energy between those two. So let's watch Tulsi's rise to power as she continues to be the puppet that does whatever these folks want them to do. Remember, they're throwing out the word treason. Treason 29, the 10th power. 43 is the 14th prime, for those that don't know. 43, not 47, so I apologize. 43 is the 14th prime. But you see how they throw out the word treason. Treason 29, treason 97, the 25th prime number. Treason vibrates with Trump. See, Trump and treason. The treason is Trump. That 14 from treason matches up with Obama because he's the one being accused of treason, 43 to 14 prime. So that energy goes into the power of building this story. But, definitely a lot of energies matching in this story. A lot of energies matching in this story. All right. So we're just going to keep paying attention to, this part of the story. But these are some of the players right now that we see. The DOJ primary player in this 1512, the number of completion. So let's see what the DOJ does. 29, 11, 29, treason 29, 11, 31, the 11th prime, Obama 31. So 52, the number of prophecy, and DOJ is our prophecy number. See, a lot of these stories have been laced with the number of prophecy. And prophecy is 52 and 29. So the treason part is part of prophecy. So treason is part of this prophecy. Trump, treason. So is Trump going to be the one charged with treason? So who knows how this is going to be alleged. But right now, this is a cover-up story. They don't want you dealing with the Epstein case. They don't want you talking about the Epstein case. They don't want you to have anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. So they're doing everything in their power right now to get your mind off of this Epstein case. And the big part of this Epstein case is, and Maxwell's going to meet with the Justice Department. We don't know what she's going to say. We know that the Justice Department is full of Trumpites. So she might not say anything to show her loyalty and allegiance to the elite so she can walk out of jail a little bit early and get pardoned. If she gets pardoned, all hell's going to break loose. But we already know this is a distraction So you don't talk about Epstein. That's all this Barack Taco and Trump nonsense is. And like I say, these are two guys the picture speaks 1,000 words. Very complacent guys. Probably plotted this up. Hey man, I can get the heat off of you. Who knows, like I say, what they're up to right now, but definitely trying to get the heat off of Donald Trump, trying to get the heat off of the elite, trying to get the elite. Because, like I say, both parties are complacent. So it's not a one party thing. This is a pedophile thing. So they're trying to get the nation off. They want the nation to stop focusing on this pedophile case. And they're doing everything in their power, even bringing out the big dog, Obama, to make this happen. Where see, I'll just become the primary story. If I'm the primary story, they're talking about me. They're not talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I can do that for you. As usual, when he comes to the rescue, once again saving his buddy Donald Trump. So two birds of a feather always flock together. That's the Machty Back Row Ministry.